So guys, welcome back to IPL 5 here to stream 2. We're going to bring you game number 2 of SGS versus iCeLand. Of course, SGS 1-0 in the lead after, I hope Jack will agree with this, a fairly simple game for them.
That was a bit of a stomp.
Bit of a stomp.
Bit of a one-sided match for Singapore, but as we thought, already in the picks and bans, Katarina right away, getting rid of that. Again, SGS just getting rid of Diana, though, so it's mainly just they don't like Diana more so than they wanted to unlock a Katarina pick for themselves. We'll see if this one gets a little better. I know the other losers bracket game against, it was Blackbean and Azubu Blaze, is also fairly one-sided, so these loser bracket games, actually all of our best of threes have been 2-0 so far, even though we had a fairly competitive group stage.
Yeah.
The seeding out of that is shown to be, you know, a little bit stompy.
I think that can happen as well in double elimination with this system when you have the third and fourth against each other and stuff like that. I mean,
yeah, I think so.
I think it's also a testament to the strength of this tournament that we do have so many good teams. I mean, Azubu Blaze are in the low bracket.
Moscow 5.
Moscow 5.
Also in the loser bracket.
In the low bracket.
Unreal.
So that's where it kind of the spanner is thrown into the works, so to speak. But SGS here coming out with their bans. Rengar, Shen, Diana. Exact same bans as last time. Urgot, Katarina, Lee Sin. And so we're not going to be saying so much Katarina this time around. Good stuff. But SGS, first of all, locking in that Ezreal. They wanted that Ezreal for their first pick. What do you think to, you know, AD carry as your first pick? Is it worth it?
It's one of those things that it's why Ezreal's the most picked AD carry, but never banned. It's all these teams refer to it as a luxury more than a necessity. Yeah. It's like Ezreal is just slightly more slippery or slightly more efficient than the other AD carries, and they just, unless they have a strategy kind of revolving around Kog'Maw or Vayne, they just like picking it first, and it keeps them unpredictable. It means they don't have to give away anything because Ezreal will fit into any team comp they decide to go with. Yeah. And I kind of like what iCeLand's doing here. I don't know if it was intentional, but it somewhat blocks SGS's shield comp, so to speak, because they always have to run Lulu with Karma if they decide to do it, and taking Lulu so early, since they didn't ban Karma, might block SGS from picking it. Crazy that we're talking about Karma being a potential pick, but SGS is the only team in the world that plays it in the play.
That actually runs her, yeah. But there is an Olaf and a Taric going in there, so I guess they've decided, you know what, we really don't need this shield comp for this one anyway, and even if we did, we probably wouldn't be able to pull it out without that Lulu. But we do have Orianna again locked in there for iCeLand. Obviously had some problems last time with Katarina, who is this time banned out wisely, I would say, as well, by iCeLand, so we'll not be seeing any of that. What are iCeLand going to go for? They actually were hovering over Vayne before they picked up Lulu, so I'm assuming that Vayne's going to come in once again for them. There it is.
These are very similar team comps to last time. Every single pick so far has been exactly the same. What will iCeLand do here? Because they could, I mean, the only thing that was banned out this game from last game that's different is Katarina. I'm surprised that they're going so standard compared to last game based on just how it went. They clearly think it was just Katarina, but it was not just Katarina, right? So picking Vayne and Lulu the same against Ezreal, and I mean the bottom lanes and the top lane for SGS have already been picked, so this could very well just be another 2v1 setup, another top lane going, and it's 4 of the same picks for SGS and then Lux instead of Katarina. For iCeLand, if they're going to do a lane swap, you got to pick something a little better to go up against Olaf in the top lane, because last game, you know, Jax got dove a little bit. Maybe they'll be ready for it this time. Just surprising to me.
Yeah, I think they should be ready for it. I think they should have been ready for it the last game after doing it themselves, that it was probably going to happen the other way around. Obviously, Shyvana this time instead of Mundo. Very similar junglers, though, you know, very quick.
Manaless, too.
Manaless as well, yeah. We'll see if they go for something a little bit different here than the Jax that they had last time. And, well, doesn't look like it.
So, strategy talk for iCeLand was ban Katarina. Let's do it. We'll see if it works out, right? Because a lot of that last game did snowball off of Katarina just getting resets and taking over the game, because clearly this is the same game with only 2 different picks. These are 8 duplicate picks from last game. No champion swap teams. There was no cleverness of picking it away from each other. This is pretty much just iCeLand saying, we misplayed last game, but we're confident we did it right. Because, I mean, we know from the stats we have that iCeLand does have champion diversity. Every role played 5 or 6 different things in only 11 games.
Yeah.
But they're going for exactly the same thing this time, so they do feel some innate confidence against this comp from SGS. We'll just have to see if it works out for them.
What is your opinion, Jack? I mean, we talked about the fact that Katarina, yes, obviously did snowball herself plus the team through to victory there, but was it the only factor? I mean,
no.
For me, I mean, the 2v1 lane went in their favor as well after everything's said and done as well. So,
I mean, the last game, a lot of it went on that really early oracles that Mundo lost. When you lose something that early, it definitely crushes you.
Yeah.
The 2v1 definitely went in SGS's favor. They were even so much cleaner in the way they did the dives. Even though they both got the first kill, remember over in the bottom lane, everyone left with like 10% health and had to back, whereas SGS was just like, everyone pretty much full health, killed you, carry on farming. And yeah, they won every lane. They won the jungle. They took more towers. They took more dragons. We'll really see how iCeLand adapts to this. And Lux does play a lot different than Katarina, to be completely fair. But that's going to make Jarvan even more threatening, because once he's in that prison, Lux can just throw everything in there and just boop, see if it goes away.
The lasers and all the stuff going into that Jarvan ultimate. We'll see how this one works out. We are going to get into game number 2. I'm going to say iCeLand. Not because I really believe that they can beat SGS in this position, but because I want to see a game number 3, just to have a third game up till now in the playoffs, which we've not actually seen. I mean, there are a lot of games still to be played. I mean, this is lower bracket round 1. There's still, if I can actually count, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 games still to go. All best of 3s.
It's a 4-day event of 12 hours of League a day for the whole weekend. So
we were actually trying to work out yesterday how they're going to fit everything into into the 2 days that we've got remaining, not realizing that we actually have 3 days remaining after yesterday. So yeah, it's a long event, lots of League of Legends action, and we're going to get into this one. So a quick rundown of the teams once again. For SGS, we have Equivocal on Olaf, Darkness on Jarvan, Chowie on Lux, LY4 on Ezreal, and Harley on Taric, and I may just shut up here in a second if they do decide to invade. iCeLand with Red and 228 on Shyvana, Red obviously on Jax, Cat on Orianna, Lycan on Vayne, and TK Singh on Lulu.
And again, there's actually pretty defensive formations here. They have the same comps as last time. SGS, again, different side of the map, but they would be the ones to potentially aggress early on. They might 5-man invade, and there's no ward here, just a human ward in Jax. They scout him out, and actually, I thought they were going to get the dazzle on him, but he's actually able to walk away without having to burn any flashes. All 5 of them are seen now. This is giving away the intel. They're going to have to back away. iCeLand's still not looking to do much, though. They're very scared of SGS's level 1 potential.
Yeah, and I think so they should be as well. I mean, with the axe slow from Olaf coming out there, if Lux gets the binding down as well, the dazzle coming out of Taric, you don't really get away from that one if you get caught out of position. iCeLand going to be starting off by Wolves, going down to their blue by the looks of things, the way that they're currently set up. Jack's actually just waiting around, I guess, for that extra health pot once these minions come into play. SGS also going to back away, and we're going to see a fairly subdued start. However, that lane swap coming out again.
And the only thing slightly different about this is Equivocal is getting the Wraiths on Olaf. So he's trying to help himself just a little bit in the lane, whereas the way Red helped himself is by getting that 4th health potion. Kind of expected SGS to take a red buff and do something clever like they did last time, but they're playing a little safe. They realize how handily they won last time, and they're probably just not taking any risks. Early buffs coming out, 2v1 lanes. What I really want to see now actually is why did he not finish off his blue? He's rushing for red buff. He's trying to get there before, but it's actually been warded, so they're going to see this getting stolen. This is clever, but I feel like they could have done a little better with the blue buff. Ice not really having much against this because they don't have enough members up here. The only thing that will happen, the only thing is he could smite it because they don't know that brush is warded. So even if he smited it anyway.
Smites it anyway, but here comes Red down. That counter-strike surely going to land. Actually, no, doesn't. Well, here comes Orianna onto this top side. There's Jarvan going through. Red going to get prisoned up by Lux, and there is first blood going down to Ezreal. So, from what looked like a good position from iCeLand to turn that around, Jack loses them first blood.
Yeah, and the thing with that is they had 4 members up there. If you're not going to contest them taking the red, why fight them after they already have red buff and the extra experience? It was a bit of a miscalculation for them. I don't really understand what they were trying to do there. It hurts Red even more so. And a funny thing that happened while all that was going on, bottom lane, Equivocal never went to lane. He did Wraiths, double golems, shopped, and then ran back because he knew he was going to be getting denied by iCeLand's bottom lane anyway. Actually pretty clever because he got golden XP while they're doing the counter jungling.
Yep, and actually is a good amount ahead of Jax as well in terms of that one, and we are going to see that dive coming in. There are 3 men there. Actually, Shyvana is off towards the side, and it looks like SGS are going to wait for that counter-strike to go down. That was clever stuff as the Dazzle goes in. He did leap strike away, and from that, SGS are prevented from picking up a kill, but Red still needs to be a bit careful hanging around this turret when those cooldowns are back.
Yeah, and he's just going to go right in for him, gets the exhaust. He has no flash. This guy's dead.
Yeah, I'm not sure why. I mean, I'm not sure why he would do that, honestly. Maybe you can tell me, chat.
So, kind of what happened there is they knew the 3-man dive was going to be coming. I'll stop for a sec.
Yeah, Equivocal down here in the bottom lane. Actually going to go in towards Lycan. Is going to go down, but looks working her way in. Does have flash available, but will she risk it, especially after being slowed in there? Now the question is, will she land the binding onto TK Sync? And there is flashed away. I think wise move from Lulu.
So in the top lane, I think what happened is they smelled the 3-man dive coming from the previous game. That's why 228 was up there to stop it. But once they got pushed off the turret, Red probably didn't realize that 228 was no longer supporting him and had just a sense of confidence that shouldn't have been there. Then they dove him, just an extended dive, stuck around too long, a bit of a mental lapse.
Demon's here in the room, he's mouthing
something.
He's mouthing something. I'm not... Chowie?
Chowie?
What about Chowie?
It's not helping.
It's confusing me more than anything.
It's not helping.
So actually, Chowie is still down in this bottom lane. We can see there 228 in the jungle, with Shyvana just headed down towards those wolves once again, of which one of them is gone.
It's only invisible. Now it's dead.
Now it's
that was
dead.
a weird
It was just invisible. Yeah, usually they're all invisible. It's not just one of them. But still, 3-man push again coming down to the bottom. Actually, Jarvan is going to be spotted there. And already a minute later, Oracle than what we saw in the last game, because we did see one at 4 minutes coming out of Mundo. I guess 2-8 after the start that they've had, and certainly after the last game, not going to be going for it as Lycan going to get popped down there in the bottom. Hardly even saw that damage coming down. And that's another one for SGS, and to be honest, it's all going to plan again.
And this is another strange thing, because they saw them with the dying breath of that ward and still just stuck around in danger. So now Lycan's already dead. TK Singh is holding the turret, but they have to smell this. There's going to be another 3-man dive. This is how they play. And yes, finally TK Singh falls away from the turret. He put a ward in that brush. They realized it. But with that, they're going to get a whole bunch of damage on this turret, and this is a lot of fast push, a lot of gold, and a lot of advantage accumulating for SGS.
And that's exactly why I almost missed the kill, because I saw Jarvan on top of the ward and I went somewhere else, you know, because
There's no
who hangs around in that situation? But apparently they fancied it. But this time they may end up losing another turret. 228 has come down to try and hold things off. Now with Lycan there, it may change as Red up in this top lane. He's having a bit of a trouble with Olaf, who's going to go pick up his axe once again. Actually turned away there, will land another axe, and this is surely going to be enough range for him. Just about the counter-strike not connecting. Where is your axe? As LY4 has taken down TK Singh at the bottom, but Red is still running. He's not got enough mana for the axe, right? That's the problem, or he was saving it, and then he's going to be going in there for the Reckless Swing to finish off the kill, and that will be well, a very strong looking SGS, I think, is a bit of an understatement right now.
Olaf just waiting to get in range to get his E off. It took him a while, but we were able to see probably the most anticlimactic chase in a while. Ran him down for 30 seconds and finished him off. In the bottom lane, they finished the turret off. Cat didn't roam with Chowie. He just got down the wardless river since they've been pushed back so hard and not able to get out their defenses, and just yet another kill. So this is, again, every lane getting punished. Cat a little bit ahead of Chowie in minion kills, but that's just because Lux has been roaming and picking up advantages for his team. 3,000 gold at 7 minutes is really hard to come back from. And it's really strange that they did that early Oracles on 228 when you're losing this badly, because SGS doesn't really need to ward if they're stronger than everyone, because they'll win the engagements regardless.
Yep, and it looks like actually Jarvan coming up to this middle lane. Will he try and take Cat here? Think more about maybe forcing to push this lane that little bit. We do see Shyvana up there by the wards, does have that Oracle, so we talked about it 4 minutes. That's what we saw him picking up in the last game on Mundo. Delayed it a little bit longer this time, but still, for me, risky play considering how this is going.
And you can see this right here. You've picked up an Oracle's, all he has is a cloth armor, and there's no way they're going to be able to stop that red invade. It got taken early on in the game, they picked it up again in 8 minutes. He's probably never going to get a red for the rest of this game, as long as he's not able to pick up. They did manage to finally pick up a turret because they knew Taric was there for the red invade, but that's a small step. They need a lot more. They need to win some kind of team fight here.
Right now, Jarvan going to be giving that blue buff over towards Lux. Let's have a look at the CS, actually, because something that we've not really touched on, and to be honest, they're very low as well. I mean, look at the top lane there. Olaf 36 to the 30 of Jax, a very low CS game. In the middle lane, 54 to 63, actually, needlessly large rod now being picked up on Orianna. So going for a different build this time around is Chowie. And
the minion kills are so low just because it's been a very chaotic game. Ooh, Shockwave coming in from Cat, but no follow-up coming after that. The thing with this is SGS has been roaming a lot and taking a lot of turrets, so they don't really care that their minion kills are low. So you actually look, and it looks like they could be losing the lanes, so to speak, but they're not, because everyone's gotten kills and everyone's gotten turrets, so they're substantially up in gold. With all the towers they've taken away from Ice too, they're not feeling safe to farm and not even look into the rivers as they're taking yet another dragon. So with all this grouping, not getting minion kills, but it doesn't matter because it's part of their plan.
Yeah, taking everything else. If you actually look at the gold here between the individual players, actually without... for a second, because Lycan is here in a little bit of trouble as he actually does some damage there. Doesn't get stunned up as a Condemn, not quite got the range. TK Singh now in a bit of trouble. Here comes Lux, the laser comes out, the Ezreal ulti comes out, and he's managed, credit where it's due there to Lulu, managing to dodge both of those ultimates to stay alive.
Really timely flash. A lot of Lulus would have flashed before the absolute fatal damage, but because he waited so long, he was able to keep himself alive. Burden the teleport from Chowie as well when Lux went down for that ultimate. And almost expect them to kind of collapse towards the middle now, though. They've taken the two other outer turrets. All the pressure in the other lanes has provided that for them. It's a little risky to be up that far when you don't have any backup if 228 would have decided to do something there, but just because Ice doesn't have the full vision control, they're not really sure where to go, and now with camping this bush, one stun could be the end of somebody.
This is going to be interesting stuff, as actually we will see Hallelujah just peek out there and they decide to think, let's go away because Shyvana. Yeah, basically they didn't want to get caught out there. Jarvan did come in from the backside, but that didn't change things. Yeah, I was talking about the gold there. You can see the difference. Despite being behind, as you said in the CS, ahead in the gold, and that's what really matters. When you're taking these global objectives out of the game, you can afford to have that extra time out of your lane and picking up the the dragon and even trying to get in for those extra kills, which they've done brilliantly.
And it's another one of those things you said last game, looking at the support gold is often just a microcosm of the entire team. 2400 to 1800, it's because of the assists. It's obviously not because of his 6 more minion kills. He just got his Heart of Gold, so it hasn't been because he got access to one of those early on. It's just because 2 turrets and a dragon and 4 assists add up fairly quickly. It's strange, though, because this game has paused in a sense. They've stopped with the turret dives. They've taken kind of the dragon they need, and they're almost just waiting for the next objective to come up or the next mistake to be presented to them so they can capitalize.
Chowie coming back into the lane with Phoenix Codex. Already got those Suck Juice and double Doran's Ring. As I said, Cat, I actually said Chowie when I meant to say Cat has gone for a different build this time around. He went for the Athene's Unholy Grail, which is definitely more of a standard start on Orianna than going straight in towards that needlessly large rod.
A little odd in all honesty, just because the main thing you worry about when you're playing against Lux is getting instantly killed by the combo. But he feels a need for it. They're trying to get as much power as possible because this Orianna is going to be doing more.
Orianna will come down. Actually, 2 of them got away from that, but the entire team of iCeLand is here. And there is the ultimate coming out. Looks at maybe enough to force them back. Ultimate from Lulu is actually down onto Vayne, but she's falling very low. Burning here from the Ignite should survive that one, but now they turn it back around onto Red. And here comes LY4 with Ezreal, and he's not finished just yet. Not sure that he's going to get over. The ultimate comes out. Oh! Lycan actually stop portaling back and walk towards the ultimate. That was a strange thing, but I think he just saw it coming and just panicked. Like, yeah, I have to move, I have to move.
He probably aimed it at me. I have to get out of the way. But, oh, goodness. Really close play there by iCeLand. They almost were able to create something there. 2 people successfully flashed a Shockwave, and that's really what saved SGS's bacon coming into that fight. After that, it was actually another example of Red overcommitting a bit. He did the same thing in against them last game, which allowed Katarina to almost get that panic kill, and he's just really not having a good time. He's getting shut down so much in the lane that I feel like Red is pressing in these matches and trying to make too many plays, and it's really just getting iCeLand in trouble, as we saw there.
Yeah, we see that Olaf going very tanky up till now. The Philostone Heart of Gold and a Giant's Belt finished off. And there is a Ruby Crystal to boot as well. So rather healthy is this Olaf. And you look at that compared to Jack's Doran's Blade and a Phage up until now with those tier 1 boots. Still in the middle, we may see a bit of action kicking off. Actually, Darkness coming in there. There will be a ward which he will clear out with the Oracles that he's had on for quite a while now. Obviously not died up until now, and SGS are actually pushing in there. There's the shield coming out of Chowie, and that should be able to give them enough here to take down this middle outer turret. Only one more hit needed, and they back away just before that one hit could come in. But with Ezreal coming in, that will be this outer turret in the middle lane going down.
They would have to be a little bit careful. Okay, SGS did take it. They would have had to be careful if they tried to defend that turret because it would have provided this false sense of security, but because they didn't, just gives up the turret, and now they've lost all 3 outer rings, which really just crushes your map control entirely, especially when you consider they've only taken 1 turret themselves. So the whole zone of the game is just moving into iCeLand's jungle, which, since their red buff has already been stolen twice, not good for them overall. It's going to be really hard for them to create here. They have to get that Orianna ult in. I'd say they want a team fight again before SGS's flashes are all up, so they can't just flash out of the Orianna ult every fight. So they got about another minute and a half to make that happen. Doesn't really look like they're going. Maybe they'll fight the next dragon.
Yeah, that dragon should be coming up here fairly shortly, and you'd assume that's the position where they're going to say, okay, let's try and get in there, let's try and do something with this game, because it is slowly but surely slipping away from them as a ward goes right down on top of 228. He'll take that out easily with the Oracle. But you can see they're pushing up these lanes as much as they can now in anticipation for that dragon coming in. A few wards going down as well from Hallelujah, a support player on Taric, as Lycan fancies his chance here by the looks of things, actually tumbling in towards LY4, but in the end will go back. There's that ward in the bush, so Lycan knows the exact position of LY4. 228 and TKC coming around again, but I think LY4 pretty much got that one on lockdown, and there is the dragon spawn, and they are going to kick it off, and it doesn't look like iCeLand are coming near it.
iCeLand just didn't have the positioning, they weren't ready, and they may not have wanted to fight. They're probably, if they're not contesting dragons, that means they're waiting for SGS to make a mistake or try to push the next turret. But I feel like SGS has the patience because of how quickly they jumped out in this game to a monstrous lead, and then how they didn't really make much mistake off of it. Says that they're going to be patient, they're going to wait for LY4 to get that Trinity Force and just spike ahead of Vayne and Power for a little bit. And then they'll just kind of team fight from there when they take them. 4 of them grouping up now, just kind of shoving them in together, but with iCeLand not presenting themselves any good fights, and with SGS not really going for any fights, they're going to be happy just taking these leads and expanding on them.
And look at this, Ezreal full of confidence there after seeing them all in the middle, pushing this bottom lane right up towards that inner turret. Orianna actually coming around, Ezreal going to ulti his way through that minion wave, picking up that extra CS, and he's on what, 1100 gold, so just wanting to get enough to make that shopping trip worthwhile for him the next time that he does decide to back. And he still stood right on top of that ward, which guessing he doesn't realise is there. They did start to come down towards him, but again, he's Ezreal, he's a slippery character.
Something that's actually really interesting here is Darkness's jungle Jarvan is not getting many minion kills. He's at 40. So he's really just a support jail man who tries to get kills and assists. And you saw that in the way he was playing early. Immediately trying to tower dive. Immediately just trying to push turrets. He's just aiding the team more so than farming. Trying to defer the farm to Lux and Ezreal. It's actually a pretty good strategy. Support junglers are good. It's just strange that it's on such of a tank right here. It's working out for them because everything's working out. But if they were to stop winning fights or stop getting objectives, he would fall fairly far behind.
We can see that Trinity Force now finished on Ezreal. He's just come back into that bottom lane. He's just been farming. Granted, Vayne actually doing the same, and is a good chunk of CS in the lead right now. Phantom Dancer finish, which we talked about this whole build a little bit earlier on, whether you go Bloodthirster first or whether you go into Phantom Dancer first. I guess really, depending on the player, what they fancy going in for. First, as we are going to see a bit of a push from SGS up in towards that jungle of iCeLand.
Well, it's strange with the Phantom Dancer coming out this game, because last game, Lycan went Bloodthirster. And it's just, they were doing 2v1 lane matchups last game, and actually you would need more mobility against Katarina, but maybe he just decided to try something else because Vayne didn't work out for him last game with the Bloodthirster. We'll see how it ends up working out in teamfights, because actually it could just be, no, Olaf was in the last game as well. I don't know why he would change between these games, because there's very few differences.
like you said, maybe just felt, it didn't work out. Let's try it a different way this time around. As SGS taking away that blue buff, Chowie gonna take that, which is always a nice thing to have on Lux. And here comes the binding and the laser. The E comes out, one more hit. It's just a Dragon Strike from Darkness, almost tickling him to death there. Like, yeah, there you go.
That was
Finished off.
That was a funny ending. All right, so they're pushing this turret down now. They've picked off TK Singh as well. Jax is again trying to make something happen in another lane, and that's breaking the second wall now. Once they've gotten that down, they're just going to try to sweep around the other side. Taking their patience, they get one pick off. They're kind of fishing for bindings with Lux. That's really how you play these Lux strategies. You fish, you fish, you fish. As soon as you hit, you go, and they're just taking advantage when they get them.
Or having to ultimate out there, Shyvana, which SGS will be fine with, you know. Ultimate burn, we'll take that one any day of the week. Although Jarvan did obviously use his ultimate. But that's going to result in them taking another tower. And I guess they're just going to go top by the looks of things. SGS going very methodically, almost tutorial style, about getting this game finished.
They've got the blue buff on Chowie as well, and iceLand's failed to have everyone together for a potential fight. They're really... This could be another one of those desperation moves. They realize what's happening with SGS. They probably don't want to just get fished to death by Lux bindings. All 5 of them are grouped up. They realize SGS might be shopping here, and they're going to push down this mid turret. Looks like they could get this one.
Yeah, I'd say so as well. As Red actually going in there, actually got hit with the binding, plus the stun from Taric as well. But they've managed to take this turret down. Chowie actually getting hit there with the shockwave. Red going very, very deep. Will have the ultimate coming out as Harley actually goes down. Oh, TK Singh very low. That looks like almost 0 HP remaining. He's on 10 now, and he's had a bit of regen from that. They're not finished here. Red comes back into the team. Will almost certainly die. He goes down. TK Singh is somehow still alive. He's gone off to the one side. Good flash over the wall there by Cat. But SGS aren't finished chasing just yet. LY4 will actually work himself over with that arcane shift as well. And actually Lulu is trying to get away. Looks going for a bit of a lucky shot there, which... you know, not too far away, but still not in the right position. And TK Singh, is he going to get himself back? Oh, the binding. Just a split second too late.
So they get the turret and actually trade kills 1 for 1. Not the worst thing for iceLand, but that's a scary fight because they got the initial kill on a Taric, and then people slowly filtered in for SGS throughout the rest of that fight, and iceLand still had to completely scatter. They are in no way ready to fight this one unless they land the best Orianna Shockwave with that Rush Death Cap on pretty much the entire team, comboed by Jack Stun, comboed by Shyvana ulting over them. I don't feel like they're going to be winning these fights. They have to pretty much have the perfect thing happen, or they need to catch SGS members severely out of position. But with the way SGS is playing, not really ward coverage, but just sticking together and taking objectives at the right time, it's going to be tough.
And Jax has had a torrid time of it. I mean, in that last game, I can't remember exactly how he finished in the end, but I certainly remember looking down at his score at one point and being 0-4-0, 0-5-0 this time around. So we talked about him being caught, and that was the point where Katarina really went from good to awesome in that game. And again, he went back into that fight in the middle, which maybe his team won't be too happy about in the end. But still, nonetheless, we are 22 minutes into this game, 8-2 in kills, 5-2 in turrets. Critical here, just going to save this top turret from Jackson's Dragon. Does go down once again for SGS. Completely uncontested for what feels like the 5th time in this game.
It's another one of these accelerated games, right?
Yeah.
And we're 22 minutes in, but there's 5 turrets down, and it feels like SGS has been in tutorial mode for about the last 15 minutes. They took such an early edge with that red buff steal to the kill, to the tower dive, to the turret, that they just haven't given up control since then. Now Equivocal's gonna have to book it out of here. I don't know why he's fighting. This could be a nice pick kill for Ice.
Yeah, they should have this one locked down. Actually, Lycan taking a good amount of damage with those minions in there as well. But, you know, what he's done, he's delayed that completely. He's ran back and forth in that top lane, dragged almost the entire team out there to kill this Olaf. In the meantime, SGS pushing down in towards this bottom lane, and there is a final spark almost going down. They've got the turret nonetheless, and they may just try and turn it around for some more kills. Nope, they're going to run away.
They know they have themselves a 4v5, and everyone from iceLand will be coming back. But Chowie did this last game once on Katarina, where he got a little bit overconfident. they've already burned a couple spells here. It's interesting they're going for this. This would be iCeLand's time to maybe try to get back in the game. Good as Chandler said.
Yeah, there is the ultimate coming down actually from Orianna. Lulu as well. Chowie falling very, very low and will actually go down to Vayne. There is a second kill coming out, this time for Jax, and now LY4, he's been chased down by Cat, will actually get himself off of that with the Arcane Shift, and that was a good trade-off for iCeLand.
They recognized exactly what happened. There was no Lux ult, there was no Olaf there, and they had no turrets behind them since they were pushed up to the inhibitor. Great play by them, hopefully coming back into the game a bit. There's still 6 turrets to 2 though. The control is still in SGS's hands, but a teamfight victory gives you a lot of confidence and will hopefully allow them to take some of the map back as we see the start of them taking their own blue buff.
Yeah, for what feels also like the first time in forever.
Yeah.
They've not had much luck with the buffs in both of these games, to be honest with you. So what do we have then? A 6,000 gold lead, which, considering how this is going, is not the end of the world, I guess. Jax is only getting stronger now that he's got that Sheen in there with his Phage. The Zeal not quite finished off for him. Obviously, Orianna rushed straight in towards that death cap, and as I say that, Jax actually got enough to finish off his Trinity Force. So he gets to that kind of position where he can really start doing some damage. Is there a way, and if so, how would they turn this around at this point, Jack?
So that last fight for SGS was a pretty big mistake because you look at what iCeLand's been doing, they've been keeping up their farm pretty well, which is why the gold is looking fairly close. Everyone down the line is pretty much ahead of their counterpart in minion kills, so as soon as they get the big bounties back from SGS, they kind of jump back in the game. So if iCeLand, with only a 5,000 gold disadvantage, can win one more of those fights and then turn it into something like a Baron, they could actually be ahead in this despite having no control for the past 20 minutes. So they're going to look to force something here maybe, or at least catch out SGS. And Red, no, you might be out of position again.
Yeah, Darkness is actually headed up here as well. The Lulu ultimate is put down on towards Red, but I'm not sure that he's going to escape this one, as we did see, or didn't see more to the point. Ezreal being taken down by Vayne, and he's trying here, Red, to hold off as long as he possibly can. There is Equivocal to get the kill, and they're going to turn around. There is a final spark coming out onto ice. The flash in from Taric is exhausted. Here is 2-8, and they're just going to wait. That's a brilliant ulti from Jarvan to get the two of them locked in. Shockwave from Orianna wasn't brilliant, to be honest, and they may just finish up here. Double kill coming out of Chowie. Cat falling low. Equivocal on the top of him. He's picked the axe up. One more reckless swing would do it. There it is to finish off, and that is a 4 for 2. They've lost the AD carry and the support, but in the meantime, just racking up the kills. That
was probably their moment that they were trying to make a move. When Red got cut out top, it was great because they picked off LY4 in the bottom and had a Vayne with no Ezreal, but unfortunately during that fight, Lycan got taken very low, so when he re-engaged, it was pretty much just one chop from Olaf and a wand from Chowie, and he was gone. So if he could have maybe stuck around a bit longer in that fight, they could have turned it, but losing that opportunity is really a hard blow to them because that seemed to be it.
And Chowie from that as well now has double buffs on, which I'm sure you won't be too worried about. Their blue buff is actually available as well, so that may be spread around the team somewhat. Oh, we'll just refresh his out. Let's have a look at the items because we've not really touched on that in the last few minutes. So Vayne, Phantom Dancer, Infinity Edge. Not even going for the Bloodthirster in the first two items this time around, compared to Ezreal, who has that Trinity Force, also the BF Sword, plus the pickaxe in there as well, finished off Chain Vest and the Vamp Scepter. If you look at the mid laners, pretty similar, although Lux is that bit more ahead. Actually has the Rabadon's Death Cap plus the Unholy Grail finished, compared to Orianna, who has the Death Cap plus the workings of that Unholy Grail getting up towards it. In the top lanes, as we said, Trinity Force for Jax was already finished off. However, Olaf, Heart of Gold, Shirelius Reverie, the Frozen Mallet in there, plus a Negatron Cloak and a Chain Vest as well.
So Olaf's loving to stack resist after stacking health. That's pretty much what every Olaf does. The big thing to note through all those items is iCeLand's hit a lot of big item thresholds that they needed to get. Edge Phantom Dancer, really what you need. You really need the Death Cap on Orianna. They have the Aura item on Shyvana. So they've hit their landmarks in all honesty, and they have the better super late game team when you think Orianna, Vayne, Jax, that they got to be a little careful. And iCeLand was trying to force, but they might not be able to catch her. They got a Shockwave. Oh man!
Shockwave lands onto LY4, and he's going to be blown up here. That's a great catch for iCeLand. And as you said in that last fight, without the Ezreal, they may try and push for something here. We can see 4 of them clearing out that ward, headed up towards the Baron area. SGS, what is their reply from this one? Darkness is right up by the base. Are they going to try and push straight through here? It'd be a dangerous position to be in, but all about stalling, I think, now from SGS's point of view, Jack.
And they're trying to keep iCeLand off the Baron buff by threatening the inhibitor. You generally don't want to trade an inhibitor for Baron, but iCeLand just trying to chase them down. Let's see if they can finish something.
Ice actually moving in here. Equivocal will try to work his way out. Still has his ultimate, still has all. Will have Ghost in a little bit of time. As Red going to go a little bit too deep here, maybe. Will be shut down by Equivocal. Vayne did pick up a kill onto Jarvan, though, but as we said, it's all about stalling here, all about stopping iCeLand going, okay, we've taken the AD carry, we're going to Baron. They've not been able to pull that one off, and actually they're going in towards TK Singh here is Chowie. He's going to back away again, but in the meantime, his team members are actually doing Dragon, and that's, you know, from being just about the distraction to going back to Dragon is a fairly ballsy move from SGS.
And they definitely stalled just long enough. LY4 now back alive. They traded again 1 kill for 1 kill, but that's honestly okay for them. It's a 1 in 7 Jacks they're trading for what at the time was a 2 in 1 Jarvan, so the gold trade was actually in favor of iCeLand again. And I mean, we keep saying they have small chances to come back in the game, but eventually one of these chances is going to connect if SGS doesn't find a way to end this, because, I mean, they are getting stronger and stronger. Vayne's 5 and 2. They can't forget about that. Only 600 gold behind Ezreal, despite having no control. The way they farmed and really just kind of let SGS walk over them, and SGS being so controlled in the way they take this game, might actually not be enough, because you know Taric isn't the most amazing late-game support. We know that Jarvan, once he can jail people, but if you don't have the full damage to follow it up, won't be enough. And Olaf is a force until the enemy AD carry can kill him, which might be now because it's Infinity Edge, Phantom Dancer, Vayne.
Yeah.
They got to be a little controlled in the way they do this. SGS is going to have to fish for some binds well with Chowie, and if they land one, they're going to have to capitalize that and try to end, because if they don't, they're going to be a little bit worried about iCeLand falling back in this one.
Well, Ezreal, after dying that last time, actually had enough to finish off that Infinity Edge, along with the Phantom Dancer, Trinity Force. And this next fight, it's going to be a big one for this game, for how this one all pans out. iCeLand need pretty much the perfect engage. You know, if Vayne can get in the right position, if that shockwave is right, then it could be bad news for SGS. But the way that they've been playing, they've been pretty much bang on in those first 2 games. I don't expect that to slip now, but that can always happen at this level, this far into the game.
And L4Y, this is going to be probably the last fight before he finishes off that Guardian Angel. This is when iCeLand's going to be able to get that pick off and maybe finish him off if he puts himself in a bad position. He's died early on in the last 2 fights, so he's clearly apt to a few positional errors, and iCeLand is good at finishing him off. But he poked down that turret again, and this is just more pressure accumulating for SGS. Really, that first 25 minutes or so of pressure is what's containing iCeLand and stopping them from being able to do anything here.
And SGS showed in that last game, they are a great team at applying that pressure on multiple fronts of the map. As the ultimate actually coming out there from Ice, didn't really bring him much, didn't have the ball on top of him. That shockwave is ready to be used should they need it, as we are going to see the binding land onto 228. But they back away once again. LY4 taking some damage there from command attack, but they are going to be working in again towards this inhibitor that obviously did get itself back up earlier.
A lot of damage is coming in from Chowie here. As soon as one of those binds connects, that's when they're going to be able to get this inhibitor. Even just the ease that he's throwing out is pushing them off far enough that they might be able to take this one. They're doing the split push again. There's actually LY4 down in the mid lane. iCeLand's wanting to force here, but they've been poked down so much. There's a kill.
There it is. There is the kill, and there's the Ezreal ulti from the other side as well. It's a good amount of damage, enough damage to force them away from this inhibitor. SGS going to go straight to the middle lane. As we said, LY4 did split push that middle turret down. He's going to take the inhibitor itself as well, as the fighting almost connecting onto Lickin. Actually has to tumble away from that E as well. And SGS now, as we saw in game number 1, going about it very methodically. Up now to this top inner turret. They're actually going to tank this one up with Olaf and Jarvan there. They can certainly afford to do that. You can see turret hardly even denting Equivocal at this stage of the game. And that is another one. 8-2 in turrets. 50,000 to 41,000 gold. I mean, it's only 200 or 100 away from ticking away onto that 10,000 gold lead.
Yeah, and breaking down those 2 inhibitors is going to be so huge for them. Now, iCeLand's actually trying to rush out right now because it takes about a minute for the minions to make it actually into the base once the inhibitors go down. So once that's gone, they're going to have no chance at doing any kind of Baron thing. iCeLand's going to try to get a pick or maybe force a Baron right now because they know they're trapped in their base for the next 5 minutes. If they get a Baron, they stand a chance at surviving that moment.
And Red actually going in here. I'm not sure that's the best decision, but they are going to go for it. Actually, the ultimate could come out here from Orianna. There is the shockwave. Equivocal actually will pop Ragnarok and run like mad away from this one. Now LY4 is in a little bit of trouble. Darkness puts his ultimate down. Here is the final spark out of Lux. Massive damage coming in. iCeLand being torn to pieces. Licken's had his Guardian Angel pop. He's actually surviving a lot longer than I expected once he comes back up, but it's not going to matter. That is a triple kill out of LY4. They have taken down 4 members of iCeLand. They've lost only health, actually.
The final spark in that fight really turned the tides, but they were all initially grouped up because Darkness put them all in that Jarvan jail, and even though they didn't realize it, they lined themselves up for that ultimate. Because there's 4 members dead, because that was a desperation move, Lux teleporting into the base, reverse laser to finish off that kill, and this looks like it's over.
Yeah, Lux doing a fantastic bit of work there in that fight. Second Nexus turret's going down. They could just leave it to the super minions now. The Nexus will fall as well. And Singapore Sentinels going to be taking down iCeLand here in the lower bracket. They're going to move through into the second round. This one taking them a little bit longer, chat, but to be honest with you, the way it went was all pretty much of a muchness from game number 1.
Yeah, it got a little bit tense, I'd have to say, before they were able to take down those 2 inhibitors, but the control through the entire game was pretty much there for them. D-Man's just coming over trying to distract us again. We got an update from Blaze and Blackbean, and game 2 is actually 16 kills to 10. Very close match in game 2.
Though. 32 to 23,000 gold currently.
Well, looks
kills
like
are
Blaze
close,
probably
but
2-0 as well.
Yeah,
we shall
that
see.
Way. So let's have a quick rundown of the final scoreboard then. Again, Chowie, we saw him going, I think it was 12-10 with Katarina last game.
Yep.
This time around, 5-1-10 with Lux. Another great performance from him. Darkness on Jarvan, 2-2-14. Equivocals all left 4-2-6. Very tanky. Plenty of resistances at the end. LY4 and Ezreal also having a great game both times around at 8-2-2. And Harley, 0-15 assists for the support there.
Just solid play by SGS. You know, they move on. Guaranteed top 12 in the tournament now, so to speak, of the 16 teams. I think the second team to get eliminated is iCeLand now. Blackbean might be the third team fairly shortly.
Yeah.
Starting to get there, you know, in one of the most monstrous tournaments I think I've ever seen for League of Legends, making it to the end here. I like SGS. They went away from their shield comps. What is he's holding up a bunny. I don't understand why he's doing these things.
We went to, we were actually in Singapore, so we were at the Garena Stadium, and they sell these awesome, so we bought a Timo. I strangled it a few times already, don't worry.
Oh.
But they also had like a Moo we managed to pick up there, and also Rammus. The Rammus is the best one because his spikes on his head, you could actually take it off and wear it as a hat.
That's actually
Which
cool.
actually was pretty handy for me as well.
So you don't look like a criminal or anything.
So I don't look like a criminal. Thanks, chat.
I'm just saying what the airport security asked you.
Yeah, when I came to America, the first question was, what are you doing here? None of that kind of thing. It was, have you ever been arrested? I was like, well, actually,
the price
no,
of 20,000 Twitter followers.
The price. That's what it comes at. I've just actually refreshed the Leaguepedia page here to see if we've got any more updates. I guess not. So SGS moving on.
Yep.
They're going to play the loser of Taipei Assassins and Fnatic.
Right. That's going to be the next set of games after this one, I believe. So.
Yep. Meat Playground versus Moscow 5 will be on the top side of the bracket. TSM versus the loser of CLG EU. No. That's not right. Versus the winner of Azubu Blaze and Blackbean. And then Curse versus the loser of Curse EU and CLG Prime.
Awesome.
So they're the
starting
games.
to come together. We're starting to see the formulation of what this tournament's going to be.
It's really hard, even when you've done the group stage, to call a favorite because you've got some teams in the lower bracket that you wouldn't have called, some teams in the upper bracket that you might not have said would be there either. But as you go through, you kind of get a picture of how it's all going to be fitting together. But either way, lots and lots of great games still to come your way today, guys. I've been Joe Miller. Jack, thank you for joining me. It's always a pleasure. I think the last time we actually casted together was
June.
Back in June at MLG Online. That epic 6-hour, 6-match final. We were like, you know what, me and Jack are just going to do that game on the side and the backstage. And afterwards we were like, Probably should have just watched Freak and Rivington do the grand final on the main stage. But it was a great one. But yeah, Jet, thank you very much. We will actually be back together later if all things go to plan. A TriCast. We'll have Demon here in the middle of us. Actually, I don't know how that's going to work out, where we're going to be seeing. Demon's going to be in the middle by the looks of things, which is always great to have Demon at either side of us, I'm sure. But guys, enough rambling for now. We're going to go to a break, and we shall be back later for more matches here from IPL 5.